African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals, intelligence, and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoy, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command and combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing on the progress of the special military operation as of May 8, 2026. In accordance with the decision of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, on the days of the celebration of the 81st anniversary of the victory, all groups of the Russian troops in the special military operation completely ceased fighting and remained on the previously occupied lines and positions from midnight of May 8th. Despite the announced armistice, the Ukrainian armed groups continued to launch strikes using unmanned aerial vehicles and artillery against the positions of our troops, as well as against civilian objects in the border areas of Belgorod and Kursk regions. In total, there were 1,630 ceasefire violations. Under these conditions, the armed forces of the Russian Federation responded to ceasefire violations in kind. Retaliatory strikes were delivered on MLRS, artillery, and mortar positions. UAV control posts and takeoff sites were also hit. During the week from May 2nd to the 8th, in response to terrorist attacks launched by Ukraine against civilian facilities on the territory of the Russian Federation, the armed forces of the Russian Federation carried out 6 group strikes, including those by long-range ground and air-based high-precision weapons, as well as attack drones to hit enterprises of the Ukrainian defense industry, fuel and port infrastructure facilities used by the armed forces of Ukraine, military airfields, ammunition depots, depots of attack, unmanned aerial vehicles, temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed forces, and foreign mercenaries. As a result of intensive actions, units of the North Group of Forces took control over Miropoli in the Sumy region. They inflicted fire damage on 5 mechanized brigades, 2 motorized infantry brigades, an air assault brigade, an airmobile brigade, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 4 territorial defense brigades, a National Guard brigade, and a detachment of the Ukrainian Border Service. In total, the enemy lost more than 1,535 troops, 5 armored fighting vehicles, 98 motor vehicles, 14 artillery guns, and 8 electronic warfare stations in the area of responsibility of the Sever Group of Forces. During the week, units of the West Group of Forces inflicted losses on units of 4 mechanized brigades, an assault brigade, a UAV regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 territorial defense brigades, and a National Guard brigade. The enemy losses in this direction amounted to more than 1,345 troops, 25 armored fighting vehicles, including 3 U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carriers, 153 motor vehicles, and 20 field artillery guns. 20 electronic warfare and counter-fire stations were neutralized. As a result of intensive offensive actions, units of the South Group of Forces liberated Krivaya Luka in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses were inflicted on 4 mechanized brigades, a motorized infantry brigade, an airmobile brigade, an assault brigade, a mountain and assault brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, a territorial defense brigade, and a National Guard brigade. In total, more than 950 troops, 19 armored fighting vehicles, including 1 German-made Mortar infantry fighting vehicle, an Italian-made Puma armored personnel carrier, a U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carrier, 110 motor vehicles, 16 field artillery guns, and 13 electronic and counterfire stations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine have been neutralized in the area of responsibility of the South Group of Forces. Last week, units of the Center Group of Forces inflicted fire damage on units of 5 mechanized brigades, a motorized infantry brigade, a Jaeger brigade, 2 airmobile brigades, an assault brigade, an airborne brigade, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 Marine brigades, and 5 National Guard brigades. In total, the enemy has lost more than 2,130 troops, 34 armored fighting vehicles, 62 motor vehicles, 16 artillery guns, and 9 electronic warfare and counter-battery stations. The East Group's units continued to advance to the depths of the enemy's defense. Losses were inflicted on 2 mechanized brigades, an assault brigade, 3 air assault brigades, and 4 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Over the past week, the armed forces of Ukraine losses in the area of responsibility of the Vostok Group of Forces amounted to more than 2,155 troops, 24 armored fighting vehicles, 47 motor vehicles, and 7 field artillery guns. The Dnieper Group's units improved the tactical situation. Russian troops hit 3 mechanized brigades, a mountain assault brigade, and a UAV brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine. In total, the armed forces of Ukraine lost up to 285 troops, 7 armored fighting vehicles, 223 motor vehicles, 4 field artillery guns, 19 electronic warfare and counter-fire stations. In the past week, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian groups of forces have neutralized 1 Croatian-made RAK-SA-12 multiple launch rocket system, 2 Grad MLRS fighting vehicles, and 2 robotic MLRS platforms. Air defense systems shot down 44 guided aerial bombs, 18 HIMARS MLRS projectiles, 6 Flamingo long-range cruise missiles, 6 Neptune long-range guided missiles, and 4,385 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles.
In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 671 aircraft, 284 helicopters, 144,279 unmanned aerial vehicles, 659 anti-aircraft missile systems, 29,225 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,717 MLRS combat vehicles, 34,830 field artillery guns and mortars, 61,124 special military vehicles.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.